Day 2, welcome. Hopefully you gave yourself permission to eat all kinds of food that you wanted yesterday.
Yes.
Today we are going to, before we get into today's goal, we're going to talk about emotional eating and how it's often vilified and considered a bad thing. And we just want to say that sometimes emotional eating is helpful in the moment. And so it goes along with your permission to eat. If you feel like eating emotionally is going to soothe you in the moment, then that is okay, regardless of what we are about to say, which is to give yourself some alternatives. Because when emotional eating becomes a problem is when it is your only tool for dealing with your emotions. So we're going to have you create what's called a nourishment menu today.
Sounds lovely.
Sounds delicious. So the nourishment menu is creating a list of things that help you when you're having a hard time, and they may help you, they may be a distraction, they may help you be more mindful and more present, they may just help de-stress you, just, a few things that just help you feel better. And for me, like playing tennis would probably be one, going for a walk, calling a friend when I'm having a tough time, chatting with Justine is always a good one to do. What are some things you do for...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I'm thinking like there's some maintenance things that I do, like you're saying, where it's like generally getting in some physical activity is something that like preemptively is helpful. But I would say in the moment, if I am feeling stressed or I'm feeling like a strong emotion, which does happen to me a lot at night, like nighttime is generally like a pretty uncomfortable time for me psychologically. I read, I will watch a show that I've watched a million times. So not everyone knows this vibe, but I watch reruns of like Frasier and Seinfeld, and I find that really soothing.
Yeah.
I will do a YouTube, like a really short YouTube yoga that's like very undemanding, and a lot of times I literally just put it on and then they're like, all right, we're gonna start here, and then when they try to transition me into some other pose, I just like don't go. Which is one of the great parts about doing classes online, that no one can judge you. You're just like, no one can see me. And I do try to express my emotion, which is a little bit harder for me. So it's a little harder for me to phone a friend or even talk to Sunny sometimes. I'm still kind of working on that.
Oh, that's interesting. It's so funny because you're the verbal processor.
Yes, yeah, that's true. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I think I am a little guarded about, when I'm like feeling stressed, I'm like, I don't really want to talk about it. But then it'll come out eventually.
Yeah. So, and that's a good point about like something like emotional eating. It just might get you to where you need to be ready to do something else.
And I do want to mention, even though the nourishment menu we're talking about, I think, I don't know, I think it should include food, because I do use food to temporarily soothe uncomfortable feelings, and I have accepted that as part of my life. Like to me, it's a valid way to deal with things. I don't have any illusion around the fact that it's going to like solve the deeper issue. Yeah. And I think that that's the important part, is just recognizing what it is, which is it is a temporary alleviation of an icky feeling that you're having. So I think that going into emotional eating with our eyes wide open, where it's like, hey, I've had a shit day, or maybe I have something tomorrow that I'm really stressed about, and like this is how I'm gonna just like feel okay right now. And again, that permission really changes the experience.
Yeah, you're doing the same thing, but how you feel about it is really different.
Yeah,
and that's a big thing.
Yeah, and I think of mindfulness is largely, that's what it is. Like we talked about in the first video, it's not about stopping what you're doing. It's about letting it happen and then being present and really like seeing the reality of it without judgment. Nourishment menu.
So we're gonna have you take just a few minutes and write down 3 to 5 things on your nourishment menu. Ice cream can be on there if you want.
Yeah.
Ideally a few non-food related things too. And if you feel like hitting reply and sharing with us some of your favorite nourishment menu items, that'd be great. And we'll get back to you tomorrow.